excerpt was taken from a Full and Bloom interview with producer-engineer Ricky DeLena. You can listen to the entire interview at fullandbloom.com. Click the link below. How does somebody like Yngwie compare? Like, how would you say, does he have any strengths as a producer? Is he different in his approach?
Well, this was when he was a kid, but Yngwie's talent was, he was an amazing musician. He really put his heart and soul into what he was doing. He knew what he wanted to do. So in that sense, yeah, he understood at a young age what he wanted to be developed for him as an artist. So yeah, I wouldn't call him a producer, but I'd call him somebody who had a vision of what he wanted to do, and he was trying to accomplish it. Now, like I said, if that record had pre-production time and a big enough producer name to go out and find a couple of songs to just put on there to get the kind of radio play you need to get to push records like that, that record would have been twice as big. But just because it's Yngwie and his guitar playing and his skill set and what he did, it appealed to a big enough audience for him that worked for him. So, yeah, I mean, it's that question. You know, I don't know what he became later on in life, but yeah, he was young back then.
Of course, yeah,
young but focused. Laser focused, very talented.
And so is it just like the two of you recording everything?
We were making all the decisions and doing everything. It was just the two of us.
Okay.
Nobody else had a say in any of it.
And is it kind of a back and forth thing? Like, what do you think of that take? What do you think of that vocal take? What do you think of that? I
actually bumped heads with him a lot. We'd argue about a couple of things because, you know, he's headstrong. I was a little headstrong, and we'd bump heads a little bit, but it was his record, so I got it after a while.
As far as what do you mean you got it? After a while, you would just be like, whatever.
You know, you gotta work with people. Everybody has different personalities, different feeling about things, and you could either constantly rub with it or you just figure it out. And I've worked on enough records by then that I understood how to get something on tape that had value enough to keep it and move on, and where Yngwie was still new and raw, so some of his decisions I wasn't in agreement with, and I'm sure he wasn't in agreement with some of my decisions. But after a while, you just say, all right, I get it, and you just figure out how to move forward. You don't want to work with people that are not on the same page.
And so what, after a while, you would just be like, I'm not going to even argue that?
Right, yeah, it's not worth it.
Are there any particular things that you kind of were like, oh?
Not really. There was no drama or anything like that. You know, I like to slow things down a little bit and let's look at this, and is there a better way of getting through this song, or what can we do? Like, there was a band I produced called Racer X.
Sure.
You know that band?
Of course.
Okay, great musicians also. And, you know, we were doing that record. It was a live, I think it was Race X Live or something. It was like a double live record. And I remember there was one song where there was just no air in it. It was just wall-to-wall guitar, you know. And there was one point where there was a little pocket of air. And I think it was Paul Gilbert. And he said, oh, yeah, let's fill that in. And I'm like, no, let it breathe for a second. I mean, there's, you know, some of those guys were like just all in everything, you know. And you, as somebody who's been around for a while, understood that, you know, sometimes just let it breathe for a second, like a bottle of wine. Open it up, let it breathe, give it some air, and just doesn't have to be wall-to-wall, you know, fastest guitar playing on the planet type stuff. You know, that was their style. And that's why I didn't do rap records, because I would have been in the room going, what are you doing?